Yeah, basically just cut around the hole. The wall's ready to go. I got the sill gasket for noise reduction. I've already put the foam tape all around the flanges of the shower pan. Now all I have to do is put this adhesive on both corners and on the bottom part, and then install the the shower wall back here. That's what I'm gonna do. So when I'm trying to bring in the wall, sometimes it doesn't fit flush, so I have to kind of shimmy my way in, and it kind of scratches the corners of the plastic or the fiberglass pan. So I put protection, just cover it up, cardboard and the sheet right here. So this adhesive is gonna stick to right here on the both corners, and it's gonna keep the shower wall in place as I put more screws on top. Okay, looks like I ran out of Loctite. Might have to do another run to Home Depot, or I'll just use whatever I have left. But that's pretty much it. And then now I'm gonna put the back wall. That was some work. It's really tough, especially if you're doing it by yourself. So I recommend having another person hold it for you, and just be careful when you install it. See, it's kind of falling right now, so that's the only thing holding this thing up is the glue. So I'm gonna need to put some screws up there. Okay, as you can see, I got all the screws in all the way around right there to hold it in place. Boom. Want to do is you want to check if it's level, right? All right. Level enough at least, right? So now I can start working on the left and right. The right wall. And for this one I don't need to put adhesive, good, because I just ran out. I have to go back to Home Depot. But for this side I don't need to put adhesive, so I'm just going to get the wall and start drilling some holes. As I dry fit the side walls, it seems like they don't fit. So what I do is I put some plastic around because I need to use my multi-tool and cut some more of the drywall, just a little bit more, because the side walls don't fit. So I have to do both sides, this side and that side, and just do a little bit of cutting so that I can make the side walls fit more flush. I mean, it took me a little bit longer because I had to cut a little bit more of the drywall, and plus that issue with the fitment of not realizing that I had to pop it in as I push at the same time. It's a little tricky, so just be careful if you guys decide to install a shower set, and if it doesn't fit perfectly in a line right, just keep in mind that it's because it's not popped in yet. So you just have to pop it in as you push it in. Okay, so always have someone else with you. I'm doing this all by myself, so everything's gonna take a little bit longer. Just remember not to over screw, because you don't want to crack the flange or the fiberglass. So just put it on low setting, and then just be careful. For the sidewall you want to put extra reinforcements, so you're pretty much putting screws all the way in this corner, for extra reinforcement. There it is. See all the screws. Boom. Before I start working on the left side wall where I have the valve where I have to cut, I want to make sure that I cover any extra gaps. So like right here, I just want to cover up this gap right here, which is close to the hole for the drain. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this filler, this gap filler, to close that up. just tighten things up a little bit more, you know. And so I measured from the edge to here is, at least for mine, is 38. From the top to the bottom of the shower base is 38 inches, and then from outside to the valve is 17.25. So I made a 2-inch hole right here, just so you know. I want to make sure that's the right measurement. I'll probably use a 3-inch hole for the fiberglass, but I just wanted to see if the measurement is correct for this one. So now that everything is good, I'm ready to cut the fiberglass. Okay, so now I'm ready to cut the wall with the valve. So now I'm just going to measure. The way you could tell which position this wall is was when you see the flanges right here. You see the flanges? This means that this is the top part, and then right here the flat side. The flat side is where is the bottom. So anyway, the measurement is 38. So like they said, you just eyeball it, right? So the edge and see if the measurements are the same right here. It's right here. Where the hole's going to be, right there. Okay, now that I have the marking and I'm ready to go, I'm going to use a 3-inch hole saw, not 2-inch, just to make sure I have enough room for the hole for my valve. You know, I only have one chance to do this, so I got to make sure that my marking is proper. Seems like the hole does fit right here, right? I'm just trying to make sure that this is gonna work out, which seems like it would. Now I'm ready to put the fire retardant on this thing. Okay, now that I know the hole fits, I'm gonna put this fire retardant right here. Boom, right here in the middle. Help protect the area around the valve. That should cover the hole. Cover up the hole right there. And now I can, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut a hole right here. Because this is just for all around area, but I don't really need the actual hole. So yeah, basically just cut around the hole. Doesn't have to be perfect, but you know, just as long as you cut like a hole in between, inside like that. So I'm ready now to try to install it once more. It takes a little while to actually try to maneuver it and push it in and make sure that it stays in place. I mean, this right here took me an hour to do this, right? But here, just a few minutes, just because I realized that you have to just try to pop it in, you know, to hold it in place. And now it's good, as you can see. So that's the thing. When you guys get this set, just make sure you don't get discouraged if there's a gap. You just try to keep popping it in, but just be careful. You don't want to crack the fiberglass, but just put some pressure and then start popping it in here and there. Eventually it's going to go in place. So now I'm going to do some pilot holes right here to secure it. So I'm going to start putting some pilot holes all the way around, and then I'm going to put screws. So start with that. And I'm just going to guesstimate here, okay? I'm not really you know, I don't have to mark it. I'm just gonna guesstimate where I'm gonna actually put the pilot holes. Okay, now I'm gonna put some screws to kind of hold this wall in place. So that's pretty much it. As you can see, I put some screws all the way around. I'm gonna put some more up there, but I need some shims first before I do that. And that's pretty much it for the left side, as I call it. Of course, it depends on where you look at it, right? I'm standing right here, so this is right, left. Of course, if I'm standing right here, this is right and left. Either way, this is the side where you have the valve, as you can see. So I'm just securing it with more screws. So that's the reason why I have gaps on the drywall. You know, normally if you just have it perfect here, then if you need to put a shim, then it won't fit. See, so you want to make sure you have that extra leeway right there so that you could put a shim if you need to for the flange, right? So that's the reason for having it out a little bit more. And I didn't realize that before, but this is my first time doing this shower install, right? Now I know better. That's why I had to cut a couple times, and then realizing that I need to have some leeway, and so that way I could put the shims. So yeah, learning experience, and hopefully you guys can learn from that. If you guys do it, make sure that there's enough leeway and gap so that you won't have any issues when you put the shims, if you need to, all around the flanges. So now I'm gonna put this this cover for the OT drain. All you gotta do is remove this piece right here. And you just put it on here. Okay, see how there is a gap right here? I'm gonna cover it up, put some silicone, cover this and this, just to make sure that it's waterproof. I don't want anything leaking and going to the drywall, right? And the same thing on this side, the same idea. Cover up these gaps, putting some silicone, make sure it doesn't hit the drywall. Okay, now it's time to put some silicone on the corners right there, as I mentioned, just to prevent any type of water dripping outside and hitting the drywall. I think I probably put a little bit more silicone than I should, but you know, overkill is better than less, so I just want to make sure that that gap is covered. And you know, that's not part of the instructions to add silicone all the way here. The only reason I do that is because I don't want the water from the shower to go outside, closing this up so the water won't seep outside and hit the drywall, right? So that's really the goal, just make it more waterproof and not have any water go outside, because I'm just gonna have a shower curtain here. I'm not gonna have no doors. I don't like the doors. I removed the old doors. It gets really dirty. I don't want to deal with that stuff, so I'm just gonna have shower curtains. So here, as you can see, I'm just using some leftover drywall. That's what I'm using. And here, I'm just cutting it right here with the blade and cutting my leftover drywall that I'm gonna put. Alright, patch things up. As you can see, I'm starting to put some leftover drywall on the gaps. I'm going to screw those in, and then eventually I'm going to put the compound to kind of make everything nice and clean. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill some pilot holes on the drywall, because I don't want to crack it if I start using the screws by itself. So I'm just going to do some pilot holes, and then I'm going to put the drywall screws on it. As I try to put the drywall for the gaps, I realize that it's not quite even, so I need to put like some type of drywall shim, which I forgot to purchase at Home Depot. So I'm just going to use this cardboard that I cut to put in between prior to putting the drywall. So right here, I should have got me some of the drywall shims, but I didn't. So I'm just gonna use this cardboard and put it right here inside the gap. Little cardboard filler, right? Now I can put the drywall in between to make it fit. You can see it's not even right here. So when I try to put like a drywall, I still need to put like shims. And as I mentioned, I forgot to get them at Home Depot, the shims. So I recommend that you guys get those, but for me, I don't have that, so I'm just using these cardboards as a sort of shims, right? I'm gonna put them here to add that spacing, you know, like once I put it in here like this, see, kind of adds that sort of spacing so that when I put the drywall, it'll be kind of even. So the same thing here, the same idea. Kind of just use this and put this as spacing to cover up this gap right here, like that. So that's sort of my home style shims with the cardboard, and then I'm gonna put the drywall all around it. But I recommend that you guys get the shims from Home Depot, you know, because as I mentioned, these shims are, I don't know how long these will last, but you know, you're not really gonna see it. It's gonna be behind the scenes after I put the drywall. So I just need something to kind of cover up that gap, right? So it'll be kind of evened out with the flange, the fiberglass flange, and the wall. So hopefully they work out. And then I'm gonna, after I get this going, I'm gonna put the drywalls in. Now that I have the cardboard, I'm gonna put the this drywall in here, in place. And what I'm doing is I'm gonna do like some pilot holes first, and then I'm gonna drill it to put it in place. Same thing here in the back. I'm gonna have a drywall go up here like so, and then I'm gonna do some pilot holes, and then I'm gonna drill it. Right. So that's what these are for right here. The drywall's ready to go. And I'm just gonna do pilot holes. So I have the drywalls installed, but as you can see, it's not perfect by any means. So what I need to do now is to smooth things out. There'll probably sand around here, the rough edges, you know, because there's gonna be quite a few sticking out, you know, with the drywall before I actually do the joint compound. Want to make sure it could be just as smooth as possible. It's not going to be perfect, but hey, you know, it's my first time, so what do you expect? So right here, I'm just going to make sure that there's more gaps so that the compound can go in between. So I'm probably going to use my multi-tool to kind of put more gap here. You know what I mean? And then once I have more gaps, then I'm going to start sanding this a little bit more to kind of even it out. And then I'm gonna start using the joint compound to do the drywall stuff. This piece right here fell, and I couldn't really do any screws here. It's like for some reason it won't screw. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put some of this quick seal to glue this piece in here before I actually do the joint compound. That's what I'm gonna do right now. So I'm just gonna put some of this stuff, right? And then put it in here so that it kind of holds it in place, so to speak. You know, just like that. You know, hopefully it stays in place, but I'm gonna put some more of this anyways, caulking or silicone all around. Probably something stronger than this, but this is just a way to kind of, you know, let it stay in here, right? So yeah, so that's that. So that's gonna do it for this episode. For the next one, we're gonna be focusing on cleaning up the drywalls, adding the joint compound, sanding, and just making sure it lines up nicely with the wall, adding the texture and so on. Till next time, stay safe and keep on rolling.